Hello, everybody, and welcome to Jet Lagged and Time Loop again. This
Hello,
time,
Paco.
thank you. Welcome. How are you?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little bit sleepy today, but that's okay.
It's my life now.
Having a baby,
A constant
That fucks
state
you up.
of fatigue.
constant state of fatigue. That's a nice way to put it, or the worst way to put it. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Well, this time we're also a dynamic duo like last time because we're missing Shashi, and last time we were missing Brian. But for this time, instead of just trying to speak about anything, maybe try some thought experiments that I found in a website, which is a fantastic website called philosophyexperiments.com, which kind of puts you through different either philosophy questions, psychological questions, just to kind of measure or what your stand is on some things, what your contradictions are at some point. This one in particular, the first one that I want to do is just to see what you think about what you are.
I'm stoked. You were very excited when you showed me this
I
website
was,
yesterday.
and I am.
And I didn't have time to get to it. My parents had just arrived from the U.S. Yesterday morning. And I also had a webinar last night, so I was here until about 7:30. But I'm stoked to try this. I'm very interested in this.
Let's give it a
So
try.
you were going to propose one of the experiments to me, and I'm going to answer as honestly as I can. I'm looking forward to this. I'm stoked. Let's do this.
Okay. So I have to read out loud the text of the game, which can be found online, of course. But
Yep.
So this game is called Staying Alive, or this question is called Staying Alive.
Have at it.
So I'm reading. The aim of the game is to stay alive. Makes sense. There are 3 rounds. In each round, you will be presented with a scenario and then offered 2 choices.
Okay.
The decisions you make determine whether you stay alive or perish.
Ooh.
You should always base your decision on nothing more than the desire to keep yourself in existence.
Okay.
Also, each scenario should be taken at face value. The situation will be as described.
Okay.
Open quotes. There are no tricks.
Okay.
Close quotes. And you don't need to worry about other what-ifs. At the end of the game, you will discover if you have stayed alive or not, although, being a philosophical game, the verdict won't be straightforward.
Okay.
Does that make any
Okay.
sense?
All right.
Okay.
I'm in.
Let's go for it. And now we'll present us with some scenarios.
Okay.
The scenarios. Round 1, the teletransported choice.
Ooh.
You have been chosen to go on a very important mission to Mars. You have no choice in this matter. You must go. But you can choose your means of transport. One method is teletransportation. You will step into a scanner here on Earth that will destroy your brain and your body while recording the exact state of all your cells. This information will be transmitted to a replicator on Mars, taking 3 minutes to arrive, which will then create a brain and body exactly like yours using entirely new materials. The person on Mars will look like you, think like you, in fact, be indistinguishable from you. He or she will certainly feel as though they have merely fallen asleep on Earth and then woken up on Mars. This method is 100% reliable. The other method of transport is space travel. It is very risky, and there is 50% chance that the spacecraft will not complete the journey and you will die in transit. But if you do successfully take the spacecraft, then your body and your brain won't at any stage have been destroyed. You must choose the option you think you will give yourself the biggest chance of surviving. Is the teletransporter or the spacecraft?
Wow. Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Well read.
Thank you. I can tell you then what my answers were the first time I took it.
Yeah, I would be interested
That'd be nice
to know that
to
as well.
contrast.
Let me walk through this. Space travel to Mars takes.
50% chance.
Is that really 50%
50% chance that you perish.
Okay.
But if you get over there, you're as healthy as whatever the metaphor
That's a
is.
high percentage.
It's a high
That's
percentage.
a coin flip.
And the other way. So what do you think it will leave you? It will. It's just about
Right.
being alive. What
Right.
things will kill you? What things
Right.
it will not kill you?
My initial, as you were reading it, not even knowing what the second option was going to be, was my initial reaction was I would choose A. I would choose a
The
teletransporter.
teletransporter.
Yes.
Teletransporter it is. Moving on. Second scenario. Round 2. Silicon or virus. Life on Mars turns out not to be a bed of roses. In fact, 2 strange viruses have evolved on the planet which are causing a lot of problems. The first destroy your body parts. Fortunately, medical science is very advanced, which means that people can simply be given artificial limbs and organs as required.
Sweet.
You've been hit pretty hard by this virus. In fact, almost your entire body is now made up of artificial parts. However, there exists a second virus that attacks the brain. It is peculiarly nasty and it doesn't destroy the brain. Rather, it messes up your neural pathways, leading up to a loss of memory and also change in personality traits. One person who had the virus had been a successful author. Now he can't read a word, but he's become rather good at exotic dancing. It's indeed an odd virus. Unfortunately, you have been carelessly managed to catch the virus. Medics can get around the virus by replacing pieces of the brain with advanced form of silicon chips. In your case, they will have to do this almost in the whole brain. But trials show that you can be sure that the result will be total preservation of your memories, personality, plans, belief, and so on. And a person as able to carry living on a normal life as is. The alternative is to succumb to the virus with its consequent loss of memory and change in character. And now you must choose, what do? Do you take the virus and let it do whatever it wants, or you replace your brain with silicon chips that will preserve your personalities, memories, etc.
Huh. So, that's fucking interesting. So
I loved it the first time I read it, and
so here's
again staying alive. You need to choose the thing.
Right.
So the option that gives yourself the biggest chance of surviving. That's the whole goal.
So here, my grandmother had dementia and Alzheimer's
Mm-hmm.
pretty severely. She had her motor skills. She could get around easily. But by the time it was near the end, it was like just looking into her eyes, you could see she was just completely...
She was gone.
Just lost, like total confused. Now, I was not here last week because I had to make an emergency trip back to the U.S. because an aunt of mine had died.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she had ALS. Now, ALS is the disease that Stephen Hawking had, where it's it destroys your body but leaves your mind intact.
Mm-hmm.
So, seeing those two cases up close and personal, as much as a nightmare as ALS is, and the nightmare of just having full capacity of your mind but being trapped inside a body that doesn't work, that sounds like the worst imaginable thing I can think of. But seeing my grandmother go through the dementia and the Alzheimer's and just completely be not the person that she was, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
Keep in mind that here the body is perfectly working.
Right. So, yeah, I would not want to lose my mental capacity.
So you'll take the chips.
Yes.
Okay.
That's my answer.
So we choose the silicon chips.
Yes.
And then continue. Scenario 3. This is the weirdest one. The operation was successful. What's more, a few years later, advances in technology enabled scientists to perform a similar operation which gave you back an organic brain and body. So now you're fully human again. Hooray.
Cool.
Round 3. Die or freeze. Strange as it may seem, it has been discovered that reincarnation of a sort does actually occur. It seems that there is some immaterial part, called a soul, in all human beings. Upon death, it leaves the body and enters the body of a newborn animal or human. It does not take the memory with it, of course, for it did. We would have known these were true already. It is thought that it might have some effect in determining one's character, but given the evidence of the strong influence of genes and upbringing, this effect is thought to be relatively small. Even stranger than the fact of reincarnation, it seems that our souls would die if stored below a freezing point for longer than a week. Okay. These facts are vital to the last choice you make. You are very ill, but scientists have almost found a cure for the disease you have. Further, they have also developed a technique to deep freeze humans, enable them to be revived later with their memories and character intact. You have two choices. The first choice is to let the disease take its toll. Your body will die, but your soul will live on. The second choice is to be deep frozen, then thawed and cured later. This will destroy your soul and only has a 30% chance of success. That is, there is a 70% chance that the thawing and curing would not work. You must now take the choice that you will think it will give yourself the biggest chance of surviving. So you let your body die, and your soul goes to another being, losing everything, the memories, is just like a new being, or you freeze, you lose your soul, and you have a 30% chance of being successfully revived and cured in the future at some point.
Right.
We don't know when. So.
Wow. Okay. Well, you know my general thoughts towards religion pretty well.
Yes.
You and I have talked
which are
about
similar
it
to mine.
quite extensively. I would categorize myself as an atheist. That being said, I've always put a little merit into reincarnation. I've always thought that that could be something credible. You know, you hear a lot of stories and whatnot, and so yeah, I'm going with that. That's my answer.
So
take the chance at reincarnation.
So you will let your body die.
I would let my body die.
So you would die.
Yeah, instead of the 30% chance
of surviving
without a soul. Not knowing what a soul is, you know, you call something a soul, but nobody can really define what a soul is.
Yeah, exactly. In the text, they haven't determined what a soul is.
Right. You know, the closest thing that I can wrap my head around with that is that, you know, you break it down to physics, where you know energy can not be created or destroyed; it can just change forms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to me, there's something there, but to define what that is, nobody has a clue, and don't let them tell you that they do. So, that's going to be my answer.
Let my body die.
My chances at reincarnation.
So now, I think we're done with this one, and now you get the answers.
All right.
Oh, well, we need to give you statistics. Let me show you male, nationality, United States. It's just for their own purposes.
Okay.
49. Religion, none, I would say, or not saying.
You can say none. That's fine.
Okay. Now, results. Sorry, you're dead.
Bummer.
let's make a recap. In round 1, you chose the teletransporter.
Yeah.
In round 2, you take the silicon chips.
Yeah.
And in the third round, you chose to die of old age or whatever.
Right.
So let me read the caption. So here's the problem. There are basically 3 kinds of things that could be required to be continued existence of yourself. One is body continuity, which may actually require only the parts of your body the body parts you have stay in existence, in example the brain. Another is the psychological continuity, which requires the continuity of your consciousness, which is meant to be your thoughts, ideas, memories, plans, beliefs, and so on. And the third possibility is the continuous existence of some kind of immaterial part of you, which might be called the soul. Of course, it might be the case that a combination of one or more type of this continuity is required for you to survive. Your first 2 choices were consistent with the view that the psychological continuity is necessary for survival. In round 1, you decided to have your body zapped and rebuilt from scratch, and in round 2, you decided to have your brain replaced with synthetic parts. Both these choices give you the psychological continuity, but your last choice sees the end to your psychological continuity, since the continued existence of the soul does not provide it. So you first ended bodily continuity. So you first ended body continuity, and then you ended psychological continuity.
Yeah.
Perhaps you made these choices because all along you thought that the continuity of the soul is what counts. If so, there's still a puzzle. How could teletransportation or replacing your organic body with synthetic parts ensure that your soul continues to exist? After all, the teletransporter transmits information about body states. What would the soul follow? Why would the soul follow this information? Given the lack of reasons to suppose a soul would do this, you have been pronounced dead. Yeah. Although technically speaking, you haven't so much died as lost track of where your soul has gone. However, it's conceded that the autopsy is not absolutely conclusive.
Right.
And then you can see if other people agree with you. 70% people that took this test were said to be alive, and 30 dead.
Jeez.
And then you can see if people agree with you or not. But you can see the thing. So it talks about what do you think it matters when you have to stay alive? What means that you are you? Some people think that your body determines the continuity of you,
right,
the psychological, etc. I personally I've survived the test because I've given psychological continuity. So I chose. No, I'm sorry. I was given psychological continuity, but I chose the space trip.
Okay.
Because the teletransporter, as far as I can tell, will make a clone of me somewhere. So I would die, I would die, and then some other Paco would be cloned on Mars, thinking that it's me, but it's not me. So my consciousness will be gone because there's nothing that guarantees me that my consciousness will be guaranteed at the other end, because as they say, they transport atoms one by one.
Right.
Although you can say that atoms and their chemical interactions make up consciousness, in which case is what you did. You chose the teletransportation. But I thought it was too risky, and the test told me, you've taken a great risk. You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have had to, but anyway.
Yeah.
Then I chose the silicon chips, and then I chose to be frozen. So I was given psychological continuity, and you got also psychological continuity, but then you chose soul continuity for some reason. But I don't know. It was just a fun experiment.
No, it's interesting. Yeah. Well, I guess the third choice, I lost track of the whole point was to stay alive, and I chose to die. So maybe if I would have kept the goal in mind.
Exactly. Yeah. They actually tell you will die, and you have to stay alive. What the fuck?
Yeah, maybe I should have kept my eye on the goal, but
yeah. So there are not right or wrong answers, but it's food for thought. I like that because it makes you kind of think what is, what actually makes ourselves, and for example, in really, I don't know, futuristic scenarios, like I don't know, how you say Blade Runner shit, like things like that. If you get replaced by chips in your brain that maintain your whole personality and whatever, fantastic. If your whole brain is replaced with chips, then are you you? Yeah. Are you still you or not? That's a funny thing to think about. I don't know if it's going to be possible in the future, but who knows? But
what future?
What future? There's no future.
Did you see 2049? Did you see Blade Runner 2049?
The latest, yes, I've seen it.
Yeah, it's
a meh to me.
It's slow. Moves slow.
I don't know. I mean, I think it was unnecessary.
There was some good.
It wasn't necessary. It wasn't unnecessary film to me.
Some good scenes, and I think the girl that played the
good performances.
Cyborg.
Good performances.
Was really good, but
Ryan Gosling is good in that movie.
He's good.
I like the photography. I like that the photography is really good.
That was
they
nice.
had a nice color scheme for the movie and the shots, but I wasn't drawn into the movie.
There was
when I watched Blade Runner, I was really into the movie, and this one was like, okay.
Definitely something lacking, but yeah,
and slow too.
It was slow.
And then the cameo of Harrison Ford, also unnecessary.
Of course.
It's a jerk off to the fans, like always.
It's exactly what
it's fan service. Yeah. Why would you do fan service? You don't need to do fan service. The franchise is, if you can call it a franchise, it's already successful as is. So, the hell. Anyway, but yeah, I watched it.
Jessica saw Joker with Joaquin Phoenix.
Joker. I want to see it.
She said it was fantastic.
Was it? Okay.
I hear great things.
Because I was feeling okay. I watched the classical Jokers with at least the one I was alive to see, the Joker one, Jack Nicholson one.
Yeah. Classic.
And then I don't know who else performed it. Maybe he did. Who?
Heath Ledger.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the new one, which I absolutely loved for a huge number of reasons, and not only because he's fucking creepy, because there's little details that I won't go into anyway. But whatever. And then I saw I watched the trailer of the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And I saw that it was, I think, Jared Leto, and I heard so many bad things about it.
That was garbage.
I didn't see it, but I heard
the whole film's garbage.
Yeah, I was never a fan of that part of the DC universe, but still.
But this one's supposed to be really good. Anyway, let's do another thought experiment.
Okay, let's do another one. So I have several.
You choose.
I think we're good on time anyway. Maybe a second one. So this one is nice. Okay, let's do this one. It's called "You're Being Tortured in the Morning."
Okay.
Just to spice things up a little bit.
Just in the morning.
Just in the morning.
All right, fair enough.
This one is nice, and I passed it, by the way. Again, I'm not bragging, but I like it's not a pass or not pass, but it wants to determine.
You're okay with being tortured in the morning?
Hell yeah, no.
Explain this experiment before we get into the pass-fail.
There's no need for much of preamble here, except to say this activity deals with some of the issues thrown by British philosopher Bernard Williams in the journal article The Self and the Future, which first appeared in the Philosophical Review in April 1970.
1970?
Okay. The other thing to say is that you should read the instructions on the next page quite carefully. You will be able to complete the activity if you don't, but the conclusions likely won't be valid. Okay, let's go for it.
Okay, let's read.
This is a long text. Jesus. Anyway, you have fallen into the hands of Zach Coin, or Quan, whatever. Quan, let's say Quan.
Okay.
A mad and powerful scientist. He informs you that he is going to torture you tomorrow morning. No, surprisingly, you find this idea rather terrifying. However, the Professor Coin, let's say Coin, has some sort of barely functioning conscience, so he's decided to tell you a number of things about what's going to happen in the hopes that you'll be reassured about your life. All you've got to do here is each time you're told something, indicate whether you find it reassuring, in example, whether it significantly reduces your fear levels or not. There are a few things you should bear in mind. The first thing is that everything Professor Coin tells you is 100% true. There are no deceptions.
Okay.
The second thing is that we are only interested in how you feel about the prospect of being tortured. In example, whether you think you're going to suffer as Coin lives out as Jack Bauer fantasy. So, for example, if you learn that Professor Coin is going to set you free, you shouldn't claim that you're not being reassured because he might do something else to somebody or something like that. So you're the only target.
Okay.
You should also cast aside any wider moral or humanitarian worries you have about torture. So, for example, no claiming that you will never feel reassured while there's an evil scientist roaming around free.
Okay.
You should treat the things you're told as being cumulative. That is, at each stage, you should indicate whether you're feeling reassured in the light of everything you've been told so far, not just the latest piece of information. Remember, Coin is truthful, so if you'll be told nothing, so everything you'll be told is not anything. That you'll be told is not contradictory. Basically, Coin is going to reveal more and more about what's going to happen to you, but nothing of it is a lie. Everything is true.
Okay.
And then, this is another activity. Obviously, you're not going to get actually feeling tortured, so don't worry. Whatever. I don't know if that was necessary, but whatever. Anyway, scenario 1. Right, here we go. Remember, we are interested in only if you're be feeling reassured or not. And every time there's a question, you need to think about all the previous questions or all the previous statements. Not your statements, but Professor Coin's statements. So everything is cumulative.
Okay.
So maybe something that he says might change your view of the thing as it goes.
So just so I'm clear.
Okay, yeah.
So I was kidnapped by a mad scientist.
Exactly.
And he's going to torture me.
Yes.
And you want to know if the things that he tells me reassures me.
Exactly.
Reassures
that
me.
That is, it reduces your level of fears as per the torture.
Reduces my level of fear. So I start off just, okay, here's a mad scientist. He's kidnapped me, and he's promised he's going to torture me.
You're scared.
So you're scared.
Okay. So you should bear in mind also that you should only respond that you are reassured if you are significantly less fearful of the prospect of being tortured. So not slightly reassured, but likely like, oh, this sounds very cool or very appealing. Okay.
Okay.
Let's start. Statement 1. Professor Coin tells you that when the time comes to torture you, he'll ensure that you have no memory of having been told in advance that you were going to be tortured. It'll be a surprise that the torture is about to occur. Are you reassured by this information? Yes or no?
No.
Fantastic. Moving on. By the way, the experiment, the website tells you a little text before, so to put things in context.
Okay.
They say, excellent. It would have been very odd to have claimed that you would be reassured by the thought that the torture was going to be unexpected. So it's humanly... it makes sense, of course.
Oh, yeah, no. I didn't. I wanted to take me by surprise.
Oh, that's fantastic.
No.
Would you imagine?
No way.
Of course not, yeah. Statement number 2. Professor Coin also tells you that at the moment of the torture, you won't be able to remember anything at all that you now remember. So, for example, a real-life analog might be waking up in extreme pain after a car accident and due to the head trauma, being unable to remember anything at all about one's life. Are you reassured about this information, yes or no?
What? So, wait.
So
I won't have memory of the action. I'll just
it'll be a surprise. Point 1. Remember the statement number 1.
Right.
So you don't know. You have no memory of what he said to you. So you have no idea when it's going to occur.
Okay.
And the second, you have no memory about who you are. Like they put in a nice example.
Right,
You're in a
right,
car
right,
accident. You
right.
wake up in extreme pain because you're being hit
But
somewhere,
you don't remember anything
and you have
before
no
that.
idea who you are, but you're in
You're
extreme
just
pain.
dealing with the situation
Exactly. Are you
in the
reassured?
moment. No.
Fantastic. Let's move on. There's more to come. Okay, that's certainly consistent with your first response. Let's see whether you can find the reassurance in the final two pieces of information. Statement number 3. Professor Coyne now states that oh fuck. It's been hard. Professor Coyne now states that you would not only be able to not remember anything at all, but you have an entirely different set of thoughts and impressions of your past, completely different from the ones you currently have. So, for example, remember the car accident, but now you think you are Henry VII or Henry VIII or Donald Trump, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Are you reassured of this information? You believe you are that person. Okay, I'm not saying you are. I'm saying you believe you are. So, are you reassured? Provided all the other statements, the other two. So, being completely by surprise,
Right.
taken by surprise anyway
Right.
by the torture, and not being able to remember anything about your past. But now you also think you are somebody else, or you think you have a lot of sets of thoughts and impressions and
Right.
memories from a completely radically different
Does
person.
that reassure me?
Yes.
No.
Not really. Okay.
Doesn't reassure me.
Good. Moving on. Right, that response makes sense. If you weren't reassured by the knowledge that when the time comes for you to be tortured, you're not going to have any of your current memories, it seems right that you won't be reassured just because you know you're going to have somebody else's thoughts and memories.
Okay.
You are still you, right?
Mhm.
That's what I answered to. And the last statement, I guess, for this one. Number 4, the math professor now tells you that the new set of thoughts and impressions of your past will exactly match those of somebody who's currently alive. And in fact, they will be copied into your brain from the other person's brain. So it's not Henry VII, which is dead. It's somebody that is actually alive, and they will copy exactly as they exist into your into your brain.
So I guess
So thoughts and impressions and memories of the other person that is alive, not just Henry VII.
right. Does it reassure me that? No, it doesn't reassure me
Okay.
at all. No, it's just
It makes sense.
no.
If you answer no to the last one, what would you answer yes to the new one?
Right. No, it's just,
Okay, so you given the two previous responses that's the expected answer. You were not reassured by the knowledge that when the time comes for you to be tortured, you have somebody else's thoughts and memories. It is surely right that you will remain fearful since there doesn't seem to be any reasons to think that it make any difference of whose memories you have. That it doesn't make any difference what memories you have. You're gonna have pain and be fearful
right.
anyway.
And what does that have to do with being tortured?
Yeah, we have more to say about this later, but for now, we'll just note that you've ended up no less fearful of the prospect of being tortured than you were before he kidnapped you. We'll return to the math professor in a little while, but right now we have a different scenario for you to think about. This one also involves torture, but happily this time you have more control over what's going on.
Happily, okay. Sure.
This one is fucked up, and I'm trying to read it correctly because it's kind of tricky, but
Okay.
let's see if I can just zoom in a little bit in the screen because it's kind of hard to read. Okay. Bear with me. Two people, A and B, are about to undergo another experience. The thoughts and memories of person A will be extracted from their brain, which will then be wiped clean so that all the information that was previously stored is erased. The same thing simultaneously happening to person B. Then the memories and thoughts of person A will be transmitted into the brain and the body of that was a form. Sorry, the memories and the thoughts of person A
Yes.
will be transmitted into the brain of the body that was formerly B's. And the memories and thoughts of person B will be transmitted into the brain of the body that was formerly person A. This means that we'll now have a body person A with the thoughts and memories of B, and a body person B with the thoughts and memories of person A.
Right.
Is that clear?
Okay. Yeah, I see where they're going with this.
Yeah. You are the original person A.
Yeah.
In example, your thoughts and memories are going to end up in body person B. After the experiment has been completed, only one person will be given $1 million, and the other body person will be heavily tortured. You want to get the reward and avoid the torture, of course.
Naturally.
You get to choose which body person is to be rewarded, and by extension, which one is to be tortured. So what's it to be? And remember, you're originally person A.
Yeah.
Your thoughts and memories now only exist inside body person B.
Right.
Would you torture A and reward B? Would you torture B and reward A?
No, body B, thoughts A, gets the money.
Who gets the money? Sorry.
Thoughts and mind A, body B gets the money.
So body
Thoughts
B.
and mind B,
So
body A
you reward
gets
body
tortured.
B, and body A is tortured.
Yes.
Okay, so your old body gets tortured,
Yes.
and your new body gets rewarded.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Because that's where my thoughts are. Yeah, that's where my consciousness is, so to speak. Yeah.
Do you want to hear the answer?
Please.
The end of the thing.
I'm fascinated to hear the answer.
Bad news.
Oh, shit.
In common with 70% of the 52,000 people who have completed this activity, you are showing signs of identity confusion syndrome.
Oh. Okay.
Slightly. In your case, the symptoms are as follows. You responded to the second scenario that you wanted to reward body person B, which will have the consequence that body person A will be tortured.
Right.
This suggests that you think it's important in terms of your own identity that body person B now has your thoughts and memories.
Right.
In effect, body person B is now you. It follows, therefore, that body person A is no longer you, partly because it isn't obvious that you can be more than one person at the same time, and partly because body person A no longer has your thoughts and memories. They have the thoughts and memories of the person who used to be body person B.
Right.
This is all perfectly sensible. However, there's a problem. It doesn't fit with the way you responded to the first scenario.
I know.
The key here is that at the point of which you're being tortured, the person in the first scenario is in precisely the same situation as body person A in the second scenario. Both have the thoughts and memories of one another. You believe that the body person A in the second scenario is not you anymore. Therefore, by the logic of your response in scenario 2, you should have not feared being tortured in scenario 1, since the person being tortured would have not been you.
Okay.
Wait. There's one caveat here. However, caveat, whatever, I don't know how to pronounce it. However, is it entirely possible that you're aware that there is this tension in your responses, but you think the uncertainty surrounding issues to do with your personal identity and the conditions under which it endures makes it possible to be reassured in the circumstances described in scenario 1? This is an entirely legitimate position to hold, of course, but it doesn't undetermine the diagnosis of identity confusion syndrome so much as confirm you're suffering from it. Jesus.
Yeah.
I know resume for you were saying, sorry.
I have no problem with being diagnosed as having that.
No, I'll tell you what.
And I completely, from the jump, understood where they were going with this.
Yeah.
But in the first scenario, I didn't have the option to not be
tortured. Yeah, but the thing is that if you felt reassured, it will be because you think you're somebody else.
My body was going to get tortured one way or the other.
Yeah.
Regardless of thought.
Yeah.
Ah, man, that's a tough.
Okay, the thing is that, and I answered that I want body person A to be tortured. No, body person B to be tortured. Because here's the thing. Your thoughts and memories are not you. You are you. Your thoughts and memories are things that happen outside you, right? That's what I thought. So your memories are just a bunch of images and data stored in your brain.
Right. So
and then your thoughts are just... do you control your thoughts?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it's going to go from zero once they're transferred. Yeah, you have the memories of someone else, but you're still...
You are you.
You're still there in body
type
A.
Maybe you think you are another person.
Forward,
exactly.
Yeah,
you are you.
You missed out on $1 million and you're going to get tortured because you thought you were being clever. I get it. Okay.
You get it, right?
Yeah.
You don't control your thoughts. Your thoughts just pop in, right? Yeah. You are like this weird seed in here that we access a set of data in the past and that gets given thoughts. So thoughts and memories do not determine who you are. At least that's how I understood it, right?
Right.
So person B will think it's you, but it's not you.
Yeah.
You are somebody else with other thoughts, but you are you. I don't know if it makes sense. At least it made sense to me.
No,
but
now that we talk it out, it makes
and
it
I
makes
think
perfect sense.
I think it's not the best way to put it. Scenario 1 and scenario 2, but what they
No,
were
but
going
it's
through.
good. It helps you understand it. Yeah.
But scenario 1 basically meant like if you had somebody else complete memories and thoughts, would you think you're still you or not? And you said yes, I am me, right? So what would you have answered otherwise in the second question? I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was interesting anyway, but
yeah, it is very interesting.
I don't even know if this will be real anyway at any point. Like transferring thoughts and memories, but it's a good thing. It's a good
Like an altered carbon scenario.
sort of.
Kind of
It's
thing, right?
exactly altered carbon.
Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah. There was a game, a very very good game called Soma, which talked about that also, because you're this guy that goes to do a MRI to a doctor or whatever, and then he gets scanned, but actually a picture of him is taken, a picture of his mind, and then hundreds of years later that image is pasted onto a robot,
Right.
and then he's found under the ocean in a weird base in the weird future where everybody's dead, and he's a robot, and he thinks he's him, but he's not him, and you see other people in the facility that are photos of people, and you talk about these dilemmas of copying, not copying. If you copy, it is you. Can you transfer but you don't die? And so it's a cool thought experiment, and at least food for thought anyway.
You know, it's a moral dilemma that we're going to have to struggle with as a society, as a species, if we make it. If we make it a couple hundred years into the future, that's a big if, but it's
big if.
big as if. It's something we're going to have to. It's a moral dilemma that we're going to have to address sooner or later.
Definitely.
if we make it,
If we are, I don't think we will, because we don't even know what the brain is and how. I mean, we know what the brain is, but we don't even know what a person, like, what the being is. We don't know what. Where it comes from. I have no idea. The brain produces it, yes, but what else?
Well, as time goes on, we'll have a better and better understanding of it. But, yeah, I mean that's and yeah, I mean.
There are some people that state that not all the things can be discovered and known, meaning that at some point you just hit a wall.
Right, we may not know 100%, but we'll have a better understanding, and sooner or later we'll be able to figure out how to download some form of a consciousness or into something or other, if we make it past a great filter, to reference the End of the World podcast. But I'm pretty sure the great filter is in our relatively near future, and if we make it past that, then sure, we'll have to deal with that. But
the point of the great filter is that if there's any, we wouldn't pass it otherwise, right? That's what the filter is.
Otherwise,
but I don't know. Maybe there is one, and you actually
would be teeming with life. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it. I don't know, man.
I don't know. Even if it's not possible in the future, I like to think about it, because that kind of puts in perspective what you normally think about when you think you're you, when you make actions, and when you see yourself with other humans. And I don't know. It's a good exercise to think about empathy and things like that. I don't know. It can, at least to me, triggers other types of thoughts, not only the ones that they describe anyway. But so are you up for a third one?
Yeah, let's do a third one.
Just the last one. We are, I think, 37 minutes in. So
yeah.
Okay. I let you choose.
No,
because I've not done all of them. I've done some of them.
Oh, okay.
So maybe we can do one together. I don't know. Choose one. You see the list right here. I know nobody can see the list right now, but
let's do a murder puzzle.
Murder puzzle.
Did you do that one?
I have not done this one.
Okay,
I don't know how long it is or how much I have to read, but let's go for it. Okay. In common with a number of other activities on this site, Murder Play is based on the work of our favorite philosopher, Judith Jarvis Thomson. Probably you'll be pleased to hear that this time it doesn't involve trolleys. Like
I'm not following. Okay.
Don't worry. I mean, however, it does involve a surgeon and a murder, so that's exciting, and it won't take very long. So click the button to get started. So let's go. Okay, there's a little bit of text, but whatever. Moral judgments, 1 of 2. Okay, so we're going to start by asking you to make a judgment about what it makes an act morally permissible or not. Does an assessment of whether some act is morally worse than other act settle the question of what is morally permissible for an agent to do? So, for example, given a choice between only two acts, X and Y, where X is morally worse than Y, does the fact that X is morally worse than Y settle the question of what is permissible to do? So, in example, in this instance, it would only be permissible to do Y, the less worst act. I think it's clear, but anyway, let's go again. Let's read. Sorry, important. You don't need to worry about if you respond yes, you're going to get caught out because some trickery to do what the consequences. In other words, if you respond yes, you are not going to get into difficulties because some thoughts about the situation because of thoughts about this is complicated. Because of thoughts about situations such as where inflicting more than rather than less pain, for example, avoid some horrible outcome, because one can constantly argue that in such situation inflicting less pain would be the morally worse action and therefore to be avoided precisely because it would have horrible consequences. Okay,
I
let's
get
wrap
it.
Let's wrap
I
it
get
up.
it. I get it. And my answer is no. It does not settle the question.
So, to put it in perspective,
Yes.
the bullshit that I just said, because I read completely.
No. You
super
read.
bad.
You read
Okay.
perfectly fine.
So you have X and Y,
But it is a difficult question. Yes.
and X
Why-
is morally worse than Y.
Why? Yes, exactly.
Then, does the fact that X is morally worse than Y settle the question of what it is permissible
what is
to
permissible? Exactly. I don't.
do? So no, it doesn't
Not-
settle the question.
Not knowing the scenario, you can't say this is permissible and this is not.
Just going from the
Just-
base that
just-
X is morally worse.
Just because X
one
is
is worse than
morally
the other.
worse, and we're not saying how much morally worse.
It doesn't mean
this or
that it's not
is,
permissible. Or okay,
that does not settle the question that this is permissible and this is
Yeah.
not. I can't stand when somebody says, "Oh, you can do this, but you can't do this. You can tell
Mhm,
that
mhm.
joke, but you can't tell that joke because this one is worse than that." Bullshit. That doesn't allow permissibility at all.
I think
So
I
to
agree
me,
with you.
no.
There's no universal law that says that something that is morally
Right.
worse doesn't allow for the thing to be done. Or not.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
Yes, that's my
I
answer.
agree. Well, that's somewhat a counterintuitive response for whatever reason. If you are confronted by a situation where you will inevitably cause pain, but you can choose whether it's a small amount or a large amount, then, in contrast to your response, it does rather seem as if the fact that it's morally worse to inflict a large amount of pain as opposed to a small amount settles what it is morally permissible to do, namely only inflict a small amount of pain. Of course, it is possible that in different circumstances this would not be the case.
Right.
But okay. Moral judgment 2 of 2. Is killing 5 innocent people morally worse than killing 1 innocent person? Note, assume that all of the things are equal here. So, for example, it is not going to turn out that by killing 5 people you're going to save the universe, or save the or save the 5 from some unimaginably awful future horror, or cause the cancellation of X Factor or whatever. So,
Then
it is most exactly what is the best thing? Also, yes, killing 5 innocent people is worse than killing 1 innocent person, or no, killing 5 innocent people is not worse than killing 1 innocent
You're
person.
gonna make me contradict my first answer.
But that's
by
what they're going
saying-
for anyway,
by
right?
saying yes, killing 5
Okay.
innocent people.
My
is,
answer will
yes,
be-
worse than killing 1.
My intuition tells me that it's worse to kill 5 people than 1 because you're trying to save the most number of lives, but they're all innocent.
Right.
So
killing
there's
1
there's
person
no
is
there's no
just as bad as killing 5.
Because
Jesus
the-
Christ. No, it's not just as bad. You're
I know,
killing
everything is
killing
as-
1 person is horrible. Killing 5 persons
Exactly,
is 5
everything is
times as horrible.
But if
That's
you,
it.
But if you but you're giving no choice than to choose one. Like there's the only choice you have, right?
Yes.
So, to me, if you have nothing else to, let's say, level up things or just compare things, quantity is what it counts because you have everybody's innocent.
It's quantity.
You have no choice.
Yes, the quantity is the difference.
Or you can say not killing no killing 5 innocent people is worse. So one person's life equals 5 persons'
It's
life.
just as bad, which equals 10 people's life, which equals 20 people's life, which equals 40 people's
Maybe
life.
we can go with
which-
no, right? I think maybe I don't know. I'm shared between the two answers. I don't know.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, yes.
Like
You're
yes, I would like to avoid people dying, but then everybody's life is worth the same. So I don't know.
So the you nailed it on the head. The difference is the quantity. Why would I kill 4 extra people when I don't have to?
Right.
Why would
But
I
they're not saying
kill
you-
one
but-
person
but I
that's
think-
innocent?
I think maybe I read this incorrectly. That they're not saying you have to. They're saying if you think it's
Right.
worse
Is
or
it-
not
is
worse.
it worse or not? Right.
Okay, I'm going with no. It's not worse. Although we have to be consistent with the answer before.
To me,
but I'd agree with you. I agreed with you. So I would say no.
I say yes. It is
Oh,
worse.
fuck.
I say yes. It's worse.
Okay, let's go for your answers. And let's say this is your test, but I'm gonna answer anyway. Okay,
Yes.
so yes, killing 5 innocent people is worse. Right. There certainly seems as if it must be the right response. All the other things being equal, killing 5 innocent people is surely morally worse than killing 1 innocent person. Excellent to note that you're not in favor of indiscriminate killing.
Not at the moment.
Yeah, not at the moment. Let's see what happens later. Now let's see how you get along with our first moral scenario. While badly overlooked, a hospital surgeon became careless and made a terrible mistake. Rather than dispensing the correct medication to his patients, he inadvertently gave 5 of them a deadly, slow-acting chemical. This chemical works differently in different people, which means that the surgeon has ended up in a situation where he needs 5 separate organs to save their lives. 2 lungs, 2 kidneys, and 1 heart.
Oola.
Without these organs, his 5 patients will definitely die. Or, to put it this another way, it'll turn that he has killed them by administering the chemical. So they die and he's a killer.
Right. He's responsible.
Yeah. As it happens, a young backpacker has come into the hospital for a routine checkup, which is the sort of thing that happens a lot in the hospital. It turns out that the backpacker is in excellent health, has exactly the right blood type to guarantee success if the surgeon transplants his organs into the 5 patients together. All he needs is to cut him up and distribute his parts among the 5 people who need them. Assuming A, that the backpacker doesn't consent to giving up his life to save other people's life, and B, that the lives of the 5 people would be saved if and only if the organs are transplanted, and then lastly, that nobody will ever find out what the surgeon has done. It is morally permissible for the surgeon to take matters into his own hands and to operate. Yes, it is permissible. No, it is not permissible. Morally permissible.
Right.
This is the motherfucker. But
My initial reaction is no, it is not. Don't
But
kill
you-
the backpacker to save the 5 people. One of those people could be Hitler.
no. I don't think we have to go into ifs. It's just 5, let's say 5 different people. 5
good,
patients.
5 good, decent human beings. Say hi to you on the street.
Why not?
Help you
whatever.
carry your
5 people,
groceries.
5 people.
Help grandma carry your
Not
groceries home.
not excellent,
kinda-
just normal. They
just normal
did
everyday
bad
people.
things and good things.
They do bad things, they do good things, but they're not going to commit genocide. Okay.
Exactly. So genocide is our limit here. They're not.
Okay. Genocide is our bar. Okay, fine, fair enough.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
One of the guys may
So I would say-
be an alcoholic. One may cheat on his wife, but he's
I
not
think- I
killing
think-
a bunch of people. So
I think to me here the key part is the consent. The
That's
backpacker's
it.
consent. That's the key thing.
That's
I think
it.
because if the backpacker says, "Let's go," then I think it's not fine. But if he doesn't give consent, you're disobeying somebody's consent, and maybe he doesn't want to give anybody his organs, which is in his complete right to do,
and in the doctor's
and he has to live with that.
in the surgeon's mind, I'm saving 5 people and only killing 1.
But
But
from the backpacker,
but if I don't do that, I will have murdered 5 people by my
by my
what's the word?
I malpractice. No,
By
what's-
by my
negligence.
negligence. Bravo, monsieur.
Fucking negligence.
So I would
exactly.
have I would have murdered 5 people by my negligence, but if I kill this one guy, there's your 5 versus 1, which is morally worse.
But I think it's tricky because the surgeon didn't do this on purpose. He did it careless.
Right.
But killing this man without his consent is actually on purpose. Yes, you're saving lives, but you're actually killing somebody. He will kill the others, but it's a mistake. He didn't know about this.
Well, but being in his position, it's like saying, I'll remove these 1,000 troops and let the Turkish army advance, but I didn't have any responsibility for killing these Kurds. Yes, you did.
Yes.
You're in that position.
Exactly.
You should have known better.
Yeah.
You should have the balls to make the right decision, or at least live up to the decision that
So
you've made.
I think it's morally it's not morally permissible to operate on this backpacker. It's not permissible.
Exactly.
Exactly, because he doesn't give his consent.
Je suis d'accord.
Okay. Tu es d'accord? All right, let's go for no. Good. You'll be pleased to hear that Judith Jarvis Thompson, who developed this scenario, agrees with you that it will not be permissible to keep the backpack in this situation. Let's see if you take the same view about another situation in the final scenario.
Okay.
It is the same situation as the previous scenario, except one crucial difference. This time, the surgeon deliberately poisoned his patient. He was badly overworked, had known that he was named a beneficiary in his 5 patients' wills, and he came over him one day to give them chemical to kill them. Now he repents and will save them if he could. If he does not save them, he will positively have murdered them. Thus, these facts make permissible for the surgeon to cut the backpacker up and distribute his parts, who again didn't give his consent. And the lives would save only and only if the organs are transplanted, and nobody will ever find out what has happened in here. I think it's the same. You have no consent.
Right.
And you're now it's even worse. You're a fucking killer, man. Get the fuck.
So you repent, dude. Come on, I don't believe in that.
Yeah,
bullshit.
he repented, but
I don't believe that.
The backpacker hasn't given the consent. I think that's again the key. I mean,
I sentenced 5 people to their deaths, but I now feel bad about it. So I'm gonna kill this one guy because basically I'm already a murderer.
Yeah, for him, he could kill. He has like. Yeah,
it would make him feel better as a murderer.
But overall,
I don't see it
it's
as
not
being
morally
any different than the last scenario.
But it's saying
well.
morally
I
permissible.
agree.
It is not at all morally permissible.
It's not morally permissible.
Not
to
at
murder
all.
One person,
of course.
Murder 5 people, or like I said before, 10, 20, 40, whatever.
Jeez. Okay, statistics. I'm just putting male, United States, and we're almost done.
Don't assume my gender, Paco.
What gender are you in? Come on, what gender are you?
There's only 2 genders. Prove me wrong.
Wow.
No, we're not getting in that today. We only got like 2
we don't
minutes.
have time for
we
that.
We only got like 2 minutes left.
Okay. Result summary.
Yes.
You passed. There are no tensions in your responses. Complication. You are risk from attention. Okay. We can read this text quickly. Explanation. This activity is designed to explore our intuitions about a particular class of killings. Namely, those are also the instance of letting die. The 2 killings featured in this activity fall in this class because the act by which the agent, in this case the surgeon, kills takes time to cause death, in which the agent can intervene but does not. An interesting thing about this class of killings is that in particular circumstances, it represents a challenge to what most people would take to be a moral rule that killing more people is worse than killing fewer people. In the 2 scenarios featured here, it is possible for the surgeon to avoid killing 5 people by killing 1 single person and using their organs to save their lives. However, according to the philosopher Judith Jarvis Thompson, it is evident that he should not do such thing. The surgeon must not operate on the young man. If he can find no other way of saving his 5 patients, he will now have to let them die, despite the fact that if he now lets them die, he will have killed them. It seems then that the proposition of that killing more people is morally worse than killing fewer people must be false. However, Thompson denies this, arguing instead that sometimes people will have to do what is morally worse, since it won't be permitted for them to do what is morally better. Which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
If the surgeon does not operate, so that he kills 5, then it will later be true that he did something worse than he would have ever done if he had operated, killing only 1. Especially if if his killing of the 5 was murder committed out of a desire for money, and his killing of the 1 would have been through misguided and wrongful, nevertheless a well-intentioned effort to save 5 lives. Taking this line would, of course, require saying that assessments of which acts are worse than which other acts do not by themselves settle the question that is permissible for anything to do.
Okay.
Yeah. So it goes back to the first question. Yeah. I like it. I don't know. I like this one. Very easy anyway for me. I was like, yeah, it's not for the first question, but for the rest, I was like, it's super easy. But anyway, like, it's never morally okay to do this if the guy says no, don't take my organs.
Right. But it's
especially if he's completely healthy. He's not having dementia or whatever. He's completely sure about who he is and what's going on.
He's just a dirty hippie backpacker. He doesn't deserve to have his organs harvested.
Poor hippie backpacker.
No. That's very
Anyway, it was
very,
fun. I liked it.
It was awesome. Thanks for
It was fun.
For setting that up, and so I guess what I learned about myself is that I have no idea
Unless
what makes me me, but I'm pretty good on my moral stance of murdering people.
unless there's somebody that committed genocide. In that case, we have to do another experiment, I guess. Genocide is like
super interesting, a lot of fun.
Yeah. Anyway, thank
I'd
you
like
very
to
much.
do another episode of this.
We can do it with when Shashi
Yeah,
comes.
maybe
Although
maybe further down the road, but
Yeah.
I would like to come back to this at some point and try some other thought experiments.
I love this page so much.
Really cool.
You can spend the whole weekend doing these things. But
We'll,
anyway.
we'll put a link in the show notes.
Of course, we will. Yeah, I will. Don't worry.
So that others can try the tests out.
Exactly.
People always say that at the end of their podcast. I'll
But
put
it's
a link in
it's
the,
really just a free link. We just
put
put
a
it in
link in
YouTube.
the show notes. But
Exactly.
well,
we'll find the
handshake.
Exactly.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for
A
being here.
pleasure as always. And we'll see you next time on Jet Lagged and Time Looped.
We'll see you next time, guys.
Ciao,
Bye bye.